Okay, still cruising. So the third video in shooting, we're gonna talk about how I decide on a specific pose for a specific person. Then we're gonna talk about how many images I try and get in each outfit. Then we're gonna cover how quickly you should move through the poses to avoid awkward silences. And lastly, we're gonna talk about how I personally learned posing and how maybe that's something that can help you out as well. So with that, let's do it. Let's do a different pose. Let's do something on the couch. So what we're gonna do is speaking again to the backlight. So I just move around my furniture depending on what it is I'm specifically shooting. Since I'm not shooting the whole space, it doesn't kind of matter how I rearrange it. So as I'm shooting, I'm trying to get not just a beautiful shot of her smiling or a beautiful shot of something. I have to fill them with detail shots. So that could be detail shots of their collarbone, of their lips, of their butt, of their legs, kind of whatever it is. And each pose that I'm doing, kind of when I'm setting up a shot, I'm thinking about what will this flatter the most? What am I trying to show? So some poses you can shoot from a whole bunch of different angles, and some poses it's really for just that one shot. So what I'm gonna have you do, watch out for these buttons because they're very uncomfortable on your knees. But what you're gonna do is you are going to sit here with your knees somewhat spread, pretty up close here, and you're just gonna sit here, and that's how we're gonna start, okay? So there's an example of getting into the pose first and showing her. Now, we have a whole bunch of light coming from here, and really what I want is just this key light. So I'm going to pull down these curtains. This is going to give us just a little bit more direction. You can even see it on her, how it's going to change the amount of light that is on her. Okay, that's so different. Okay, perfect. So you're gonna put your elbows up here. Perfect. Okay, so you can see she's already arching her back like a pro. Yeah. Do the, if somebody does yoga, they're having a hard time imagining arching their back, think cat, cow, the difference between that. Sometimes I let them, like if they're doing a lot of that, make sure you give them a chance to stretch it out. But yeah, you're gonna arch that, and then you're gonna take your head tilt, you're gonna go like this. Perfect, and then you're gonna pull all your hair to that side. Perfect, okay. Pulling all their hair to that side. Necks, I think, are really sexy, and jawlines are really sexy. Everybody's like, oh, a woman with her hair down, but like when my girlfriend wears her hair in a ponytail, I love it because I can see her jawline, I can see her neck. So I do a lot of hair all to one side. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take both your hands, they're gonna go back in your hair. Okay, so with the light coming in, we're getting really nice highlights here. We're getting a really nice light on her jaw there. So we're gonna shoot this from a couple different angles. And then what's really nice about this is we can just have her turn and look towards the light and get more of a headshot from that side. Okay, and then you're gonna be peeking down the line this way. Perfect. Okay, so again, in terms of suggestion, peeking down behind you says maybe there's somebody back there, maybe there's not. Deep breath. And I'll take the deep breath with them so that they get a sense like, oh, that's right, I need to take a, and it also calms. You can be funny and laughing and all that stuff, but while the energy is really high, it can be difficult to get that like more sensual look when you take a deep breath with them, like calm them down and get them more into that state. Okay, so I'm gonna come around here and get that same shot from this side. Okay, so you're just gonna flip your hair to the other side. So hands, elbows straight, and then shift your whole weight forward. And then so your upper body's gonna come up. There, perfect. Okay, I was about to hop on the couch and show her, but she got it. So you're gonna point those toes, perfect, and you're gonna be peeking down this way, and then let's pull that off the shoulder. As much as it'll do. Perfect, okay, so straight arms even if the shirt comes up a little bit more. Amazing. Okay, great, this looks perfect. Okay. Deep breath. All right, looking right at me. Okay, chin up just a touch more. Okay, close your eyes for a second, and then just slowly open them. Okay, go ahead. Amazing. Okay, one peeking down just straight ahead, like like right at the couch. Yeah, right there. That's beautiful. Okay, now shift your whole weight forward again with your arms straight. Yeah, right there. Okay, one more. Okay, looking up at me, chin up too. Okay, take your head tilt and go in this way. There. Wow, look at the difference between these two. Here.
Yeah.
So we can see her neck. Her neck looks way longer.
Yep.
Her hair's falling way more natural. Just kind of everything about it is softer. So really think about from your spine, it's usually a straight line all the way up to your head. So as you go this way, your head's also going that way instead of up like this. Okay? So why don't you guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you turn around and sit down. And then using this rim light of this light coming in, I want you guys to go on that side and grab a shot, set up a pose. Get in there, Aaron.
All right, so we kind of get your back into that same pose.
So no, so I want you to do a different pose.
Oh, okay.
So showing off like the lines of her legs, or you can use the front light, kind of whatever you're comfortable or whatever you want to try and do.
All right, point your toes. Nice. I like how that knee is higher. I'd like to see you kind of just touching the bra as suggestively and looking down like that.
Perfect. That was gorgeous.
Okay, let's just see. I'm gonna. Yeah, this is great. Now look up at me. You have a secret.
Okay. That's brilliant. Okay, that's
okay too though, 'cause like
it may.
a good smile.
Okay, so in a laughing sense, that's brilliant, and you can get a supernatural smile. When you're telling them to have a secret, it has to be right. You have to say it in a way that speaks to a secret.
Right.
If you're telling a joke, you say it in a way that speaks to a joke. If you're telling them to take a deep breath to calm down, you're saying it in a way to calm them down. So have a secret instead of so matter of fact. Your tonality should match. So I would say something and remember that you have a secret. Mm-hmm. Something like that is kind of like gives them that little playful that doesn't necessarily shoot them into laughter or something like that. So whichever way or whatever your goals are, but that's kind of how you can match the feel of the tone of the photograph with whatever it is you're instructing them to do. So go ahead and basically do that same thing and get that shot that gives her that has her do that smirk.
All right. Remember that you have something you're hiding.
Okay, take a deep breath.
Yeah. Deep breath. Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. Perfect.
So that's sometimes the only thing that they need when they're doing it and they're like holding their breath and they're like, I'm doing it, I'm holding the pose, and can I stop now? Like everything gets very tight. You tell them to take that deep breath, their posture comes up. Okay, let's see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I want you to do another one that gets more full body. So you can see her face is like right dead center of the frame.
Right.
But you had her point her toes, and that all looked really nice. So what I would do is I would just like pull this guy out of the way. Okay?
Back in the pose, point the toes, and touching the bra again. That's right. Just one finger maybe. Yeah. Perfect. Now, looking up, breathing out.
Now with this, so keep shooting with your left hand. I want you to grab your shirt and pull it this way a little bit. So that's just going to give her just a little bit more shape.
Yeah.
Sometimes these loose, flowy shirts can just sort of.
Maybe even pull it back.
Yeah, so pull it back.
Keep
There you go.
Nice. And keep that back arched.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Deep breath. Nice.
Awesome. Okay, so that's how you take a pose. Awesome. Pointed toes. We're going to do this. What can we improve a small amount of? What'll change it? When you're first shooting, you're just like, is it in focus? is, you know, whatever those things are, and then as you kind of go, you know, you'll get more comfortable and more comfortable. But yeah, that looked awesome.
That was good, like, because I was like here, and you're like, just one finger. And then it did look better, I think, from my
Yeah.
believe it.
You believed it.
Yeah, no,
It actually looks awful.
okay.
Just kidding. But even if you don't see the picture, you feel better about it because you're like, ooh, this will do something. They're like, I'm doing something else that's going to improve the picture. It gives you more confidence. All right, Jose. Yeah, do something backlit.
Yeah, so let's get both. I don't know if it's how it's gonna look, so we're gonna just try it out.
Do it.
Put both your feet on the couch, like just sitting where you are, and kind of like maybe do one of these numbers. See if I can do it.
Like this way?
No, same way you're sitting, yeah.
Okay.
And maybe
Oh, okay,
if you can do
gotcha.
something like this, and then I kind of want you to
Gotcha.
arch your back, and maybe with the other arm, kind of like leaning back. Let me just see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. Let me see what it looks like.
So we probably don't need this guy.
Like that. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that works. Because I'm probably not gonna get your feet. I'm gonna center myself around your head and
Okay.
your upper knees and your
Okay.
thigh. So
And reaching back with both arms, you
just
said?
put one arm down, the front arm down, so I can see your face.
Sure.
And then maybe on this side of your hair, you can just flip it back just a tad.
So here, tilt your head back and just let it,
Yeah.
just relax.
Kind of come down. Perfect. I like that. That looks great.
So you can say, shake your hair out, or I want your hair falling out over the couch.
Take a test shot just to make sure the lighting's good. Looks great. Okay, good. Yeah, you can look at me. Perfect. Take a deep breath. Now I want you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath out of your mouth.
Okay, so with your right hand that's on your leg, curl up your fingers a little bit. There you go, perfect.
Love that. All right. That's good.
Okay, so the rules are, if you can bend it, and if you can curl it, curl it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's killer.
I like that.
Thanks.
Great. Again, you've got her and you've got a map.
I know.
And so this is another thing that'll happen. If your focus point is set to dead center and you're focusing on her face, a lot of your pictures will result
Right.
with her face in the center and then a whole bunch of area that you don't really need. So with all this stuff, you know, if you were just a touch higher, this armrest wouldn't be in the way. You could get the full shape
Okay.
of right in there. So those are some things. If you're shooting vertical, I usually try and move my focus point up higher so that you know, their eyes are in that top
Right.
third, something like that. That was really good. As far as your fingers are concerned, your hand was fine, but sometimes it can look a little bland with their hand just right here. As you start to curve it up, if their hands are here, it looks pretty intense. If they bring it up like this, their hands are here on their neck, you know, curling up the fingers, kind of wherever it is, kind of getting them to have that little bit of a,
Basically, their nails touching their skin in a sense.
yeah,
Just a little bit.
yeah, but it's not so much that it's the nail touching. I mean, that's one way to instruct it, but it's just a softer, just straight fingers and flat. Just to me, it reads as tense. When you curl it up, it's more sensual. Okay, that's really good. So let's do. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else we would want to do. Let's do a shot of you taking off the shirt, and then we'll jump to the next outfit.
So is this typical for you to jump into, like, maybe do, what are they, like 5, 6 different shots and then go to the next outfit? Is that about what you do?
I don't have a system. Some shoots I'll be like, I can tell they're still not super comfortable, and so we'll stay in a sweater for a longer period of time. Sometimes I won't like the sweater. We'll do a handful of shots. I'll have 5 to show them out of 75, and then I'll be like, okay, you have so many good outfits. I want to make sure that we get to that purple or that, you know, whatever else it is. So again, it's not so much like you really don't look very good. Whatever sweater you brought isn't really working for me. So what do you suggest we do about that? It's just, you know, let's get to the next. Let's get to the next outfit. So in this situation, you know, this red looks really good. I would probably do a handful more things, but in the nature of kind of getting some different things. Let's keep cruising. So when shooting, so this is a lot of my work has some kind of look of motion in it. So you can stand up. We're going to do this over here.
Okay.
So you're just going to stand here and you're going to face that window.
Okay.
Perfect. Take a little baby step to your right. Awesome. Okay. So, you're going to separate your feet like this. And so just from your hips, a lot of people, when they say arch your back, a lot of people think it means bring your chest, forward, your shoulders back. What I want you to do is just from your hips, I just want you to shift those back. Really put a lot of curve in your lower back. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm only shooting from about here up. So even though from this side it looks pretty, it doesn't look as natural with her shifting her hips back, when I shoot from this angle, it's just gonna make her butt look bigger and her waist look thinner. So we're gonna crisscross and grab the bottom. Now the only thing that you have to be, that can be tricky is if you just go from here and pull up, it'll get caught in the back. So sometimes you have to kind of curl up, kind of wrap it up with your fingers to pull up the back a little bit more before you take it off. So let's everybody move on this side. Okay, so we've got a silhouette that's gonna be really gorgeous. And then usually I take something a little bit more from the side. Again, normally at this point, they're not wearing a bra. So I let them know this is like 15 minutes into the shoot. I'm shooting from here, so when you take it off, I won't be able to see anything. So just, feel comfortable to do so. She's wearing a bra, so that's fine. That's also why I don't take it from, something more from the side when we first start. So, okay, tilt your head back just a little bit. I'm just gonna get your hair a little bit more. Again, always telling them before you do it. Okay, 2, 3, let me get my, perfect, okay, deep breath, think really, really tall. Okay, go ahead. Okay, stop right there. Perfect. Okay, so this is,
Yep.
okay, so you can see really, really big curve around the waist, the little light here between the legs from her feet being spread, her hair is kind of coming down, see her hand in the motion. It looks awesome. Okay, so we're gonna do that exact same thing, but I'm just gonna do it from this angle. Okay, and then on this one, I want you to really shake your hair back as you go. Okay, go ahead. Okay, stop right there. Awesome. Okay, check it out.
Oh yeah. Ooh yeah, those look good.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so let's do the next outfit. I want to do we could do lingerie, but I want to do the bodysuit.
Okay, yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and toss that on?
Perfect.
That uncomfortable silence exists for even a few seconds. It seems like minutes. So I'm like, I want to get it done, and then I don't need to. It's literally only been a few seconds. There's no reason I need to rush myself.
That's right. Know that your client trusts you, and if you rush through everything and they don't feel like you got the picture that you wanted to, then they'll feel like it's their fault. You've got all these amazing pictures of these women on your website, like, and if they feel like they're, the reason why the pictures aren't as good, then that's gonna, crush their self-confidence. So I'm on both sides. The picture doesn't have to be perfect for the client to love it. It's absolutely true. So don't feel like you have to stay on one pose for 10 minutes to get the shot, because you could have shot 15 poses in that time and sold all 15 or sold 10 of them or whatever it is. However, if you're just going through and snapping and not really taking the time to make it the best that you can, it'll show, because your self-confidence won't be as high, because you're like, oh, I'm not getting any good pictures and I don't know what to do, and I just took this quick one and it didn't really work and I gotta try something new. Which will fall off. But even my client on Tuesday, I just like, this is my first shoot in the new year, and she had already expressed that she was gonna be less comfortable and a little bit more timid, and so like the first half of the shoot was not my best work by any means, and I could feel like it was more silence than normal and everything, and we finally got to some of the sexier outfits, and I felt more comfortable posing her, and she felt more comfortable in those outfits, and then it was like we were just cruising, and then the second half of the shoot, almost the entire album was the second half of the shoot, which is okay, but you have to, don't feel like you're taking up any of their time. by getting them a nicer picture,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Totally.
And then you were saying that you felt like the posing is the hardest part, the directing.
Yeah, that's the hard part for me. So doing these exercises with you here is good, because if you weren't here, for me, it's like the opposite. I would feel way more pressure, I think. But that for me is just a thing where it's like experience, just having that repetition, working, obviously it's a little awkward to work with someone who's scantily clad or whatever, but that's not even the hard part for me. It's just like,
Because everything that you do is like somebody's doing their thing, and
I do a
it's
lot
very
of candid
photojournalistic.
photography. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so like posing women or posing anybody exactly how I want them, and knowing the best way to do it and the best lighting and how they should arch their back or how their face should look or where their hair should drop. That's all something that you need to just learn from experience. So that's, to me, that's the part that is harder than like setting up with the client to begin with or any of that.
Sure. And so, yeah, that comes from experience. The way that I learned is I looked up on Pinterest. I would spend 30 minutes to an hour typing in boudoir, photography, lingerie, whatever I could, and pinning those to my board. And then I would get a trade model in, and I'd be like, okay, this is what I want you to do. Take your left hand a little higher up, and your hair's gonna go, and then your chin just a little bit to the side. And I would just reference that until I started seeing enough patterns that I was like, okay, you always want to do X, or you always want to do Y, or this is more common, and those sort of things, until I started bringing up my phone less and less and less, until now where maybe I'll flip through another photographer's, I'll get a little inspiration beforehand. But really it's, for me, I'm looking and I say, Sandy, you look, your eyes are really popping. I'm going to get a good shot of that specifically.
Yeah.
And then I set up the pose around that, or whatever. You've got a huge back arch that most of my clients don't have, so that's something that I would be like, that's something that I want to bring out more with you. So those sort of things, you just start to, you see your client, you see something that you find interesting or unique or attractive about them, and then you can accentuate that through the images. So yeah, the directing is hard, but again, like, you do your shoot, you look at your images, you go home, you look at your images, and you choose your favorites, and you choose the ones you don't like. What made this image better than this image? What made this image better than this image? What do I want to try next time? There are some poses that I still don't feel like I really get, but I try them every shoot because I know I'm close. Mm-hmm. And there are shots that I can do now that I couldn't do before, but you only get there by, making those mistakes. So two quotes. You guys big quote people. One is confidence is simply being comfortable in a situation. Yeah. So that's the definition. So if you're in here and you're like, I'm not confident in posing somebody, it's just because you haven't done it enough. You're not comfortable in that situation. And the other is that an expert is someone who has made all of the mistakes there is to make in a very narrow field. So in order to become that expert status, we've all heard the quotes, but it is true that you learn from your mistakes, and you can only get there by making mistakes. The reason I can say, what do I do with a friend? Like, they have to be positive. They have to be, they can't instruct during the shoot, is because I've had people who have done both those things. So you have to have that experience before you can then answer that question. So that's pretty much it.
Or buy Mike's video and learn from his experience.
Or learn. But as 1,000 mistakes as I've made, and the number of pictures that you haven't seen on my website that are really awful, you can look at the work, or you can read the material, or you can set up your website, whatever it is. I'm still changing my website every day. I'm learning. The new video I'm putting out coming up here is different than the last video I made from things that I've learned. So whatever it is that you learn, like, you're gonna have your own mistakes, you're gonna have your own stuff, and that's as long as you have your things that protect you, there's no downside. There's no downside to shooting more. There's absolutely none. So I expect
Practice makes perfect quote.
End quote.
That's deep.
Motivational speaker.
When's your next conference?
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about shooting this outfit in particular. So this is covering like a lot of your body minus the deep V. So in some ways it's like more sexual, in some ways it's less so. So we can get away with some poses that we wouldn't be able to get away with otherwise. So let's do some shots laying on the bed. Okay, so like I said, I don't really like this comforter. So, and we probably won't do you on the have you photographed on the couch in that outfit because you would just blend in.
Sure.
So you want to take those pillows. Yeah. We are going to throw this guy. Here. Okay, so if you can, just kind of, it's not supposed to be perfect.
All right.
That's perfect. This is perfect, that it is not perfect. Your bed needs, your bed has imperfections too, and they need to feel good about those imperfections.